I'm a huge fan of financial huddles, and I would describe financial huddles as meetings where we bring employees together throughout the entire organization, where we go over income statements, balance sheets, and cash flow reporting for the prior period. I love them because it's a great way to radically increase employee engagement. And don't we want that in our organizations? All of us do. And I think Financial Huddles is a great problem solving tool. It's also a way to help prevent problems from happening in the future. Because as we go through these numbers, your staff members can start saying, now, wait a minute, here's where we got some issues, and I've got some ideas. So for owners who read the numbers every month, along with senior management team members, you're going to get a dynamic that maybe you've never had before. So again, what are they? It's a sharing of financial data, typically income statements, and maybe also some other key numbers. The natural starting point for your financial huddles is to start with the income statement, the P&L. Personally, I like to see several years of history. I like to see the numbers common sized. So if you have a CFO on your team, a controller, a financial analyst, an accounting manager, have them set up a P&L that's easy to read, that's condensed, not too condensed, but not too much detail. Have them set it up maybe similar to this. And I like the parallax effect using some website terminology here. I like to be able to just scroll down real quickly, just looking for any unusual trends, whether it be positive or negative. So this view is going to be year to date. The next view, I like to be able to see by month. Now, if you are only into, say, like the third or fourth month of the year, you might want to have this be a trailing 12-month view. And then like the first page, I like to be able to scroll down and just look for any anomalies, any hiccups, any unusual trends, again, positive or negative. And this is great for the participants of the financial huddle, because they can be saying, hey, here's what's happening and here's why, because they may have some answers that you don't have as one of the owners or one of the senior team members who happens to read these every single month. I also like to keep key numbers to a minimum, but for every company that I've helped with financial huddles, I like to see sales broken out by units and by average transaction size, because it doesn't really tell me a lot if sales have gone up 4.9% in this case. I want to know why. So in this case, sales have gone up because transactions are up, but the average order size is down a nickel. So that explains why we're up 70,748 in this case. So key numbers, again, I keep it minimal. I like this level of detail. Again, it takes maybe 1 or 2 minutes to update this little grid, and it can lead to some really incredible discussion. Next is what I would describe as the biggest glaring omission in many financial huddles, and that's where balance sheets are just completely ignored. And why, I don't know, because there is a load of cash flowing through the balance sheet, a lot of dollars. So number one, I like to take a hard look on the balance sheet at working capital. And so as you can see, I've combined the cash flow reporting. It's condensed along with the balance sheet. So my cash has gone up 88.61. And so I want to know why it's gone up. So number one, I like to look at my working capital. And when I do look at the working capital, again, make sure your controller or financial analyst has put together some drill down information on days, sales and receivables, your inventory days, payables days, to where you can take a hard look at your cash conversion days. Again, I also like to see some other trending where I can compare my working capital along with my sales. So if sales are going up, it's going to be okay if my working capital is going up. Well, actually, it'd be nice if it'd be going down. But the bottom line is we don't want sales and working capital, net working capital, going in opposite directions. So that's the key point number one on the balance sheets is working capital. I like to look at investments, so that's going to be generally capital expenditures. I also like to look at debt, long-term debt, what's happening there. So in that case, it's dropped 35.55. I also want to know what we are retaining into the business. So in this case, and again, this is pulling out from the balance sheet detail, we're retaining 17.3% of our earnings. And then finally, again, I want to be able to look at cash flows, which we are. So again, I'm looking at balance sheets and cash flows combined. So again, when you are doing your financial huddles, it's critical. Include balance sheet information. And it's not that hard. And it's not that difficult to even teach and train the participants in your financial huddles. My favorite part of financial huddles is when we start looking at the forecast, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 6, 12 months out, or especially near a year end, where we start looking at the next 2 to 5 years, where we're trying to build a bigger and better future for the company. And as you do so at a very, very high level, definitely play around with some of the assumptions. And when you do this, don't forget to include the balance sheets as well, so you can see the ripple effect on cash flow. So again, if you want to take your financial huddles to a whole new level, include forecasting, projections. Very, very important. For those of you who want to get started and still need maybe a little guidance, some direction on how to direct these financial huddles, what questions should I be asking? What should be my agenda? What should be some of the bullet points? Let me give you an idea. And one of my favorite leadership books is called Hope is Not a Method. And in that book, these former Army chiefs of staff mention what's called the after action review, which originated from the U.S. Army. And I love the concept. And again, I just think the questions are nothing short of brilliant. And I've tailored some of these questions. You can change the questions yourself. But question number 1 is, what was supposed to have happened? So in the context of your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow, again, what was supposed to have happened? Number 2, what actually happened, and what did we learn in the process? And then question number 3, what do we need to address right now? And then finally, how do we improve going forward? So that would be your list of questions. That can be your after action review that you're incorporating in your financial huddles. And again, if you want to get more on those questions, the origin of those questions, I highly recommend the book, Hope is Not a Method. So guys, the best of luck in doing these financial huddles. It may seem awkward at first, but definitely stay the course.